I want to die with a tummy full of McRib.
Okay, everybody who didn't turn off the video at the sound of my voice, next up we've got Caramel Dancing 3 or whatever. This one's got cutscenes. Ain't that fancy? Scenes of cutting. So, this one's like a Star Fox or perhaps a Space Harrier. This one doesn't really fit the theme of fake NES games. This one seems more comparable to something you would see on the Sega Genesis or perhaps the TurboGrafx 16. What with the fake 3D. It doesn't have actual sprite scaling though, so that's accurate though. Sprite scaling really wasn't a thing until the late 16-bit era. It's more fitting that a game like this would have fake sprite scaling, where they just swap in a larger sprite as it gets closer to you to create the illusion of a sprite growing in size. You guys know what I'm talking about?
Oh, you know what I'm talking about.
Anyway, so, you'll notice that 100 in the corner of the screen up there that actually means something. Because that's like a percentage of how many enemies you manage to get in that wave. And if you can get all 100, that's going to be beneficial later. But we'll get to that when the time comes. So yeah, the UFO from the Campanella games is something of the mascot for this fictional company, UFO Soft. Everyone was just so enamored with Campanella's 1 and 2. Speaking of mascots, did you know that for a time, Link was going to be the mascot for Nintendo instead of Mario back in the 80s? And then they finally settled on Mario around the time Mario 64 came out? Yeah, I think that's true. So anyway, yeah, this game's way harder than it looks. Looking at the gameplay of it beforehand, I was just thinking, oh, it's Space Harrier, I know Space Harrier. This'll be easy. And how wrong I was. It may look like it's just a matter of point and shoot, but you see the ship has some physics on it and that adds an extra layer to everything that you do, and it makes my every movement in this game far more impressive when it succeeds. Because it would probably be just as difficult to pilot a real spaceship. That is to say, to pilot a real spaceship and also you, the pilot, were a walrus with boxing gloves over your fins, and you also had a really bad case of vertigo. I stole that comparison from a cracked article I read like 15 years ago. Anyway, yes, okay, this is where those 100s come in handy. See, if we can get 50 points in this segment, we get an extra continue. And whether the balloons are orange or yellow, or red or yellow, is determined by how many 100s we got in the previous round. And we got all 100s, so all the balloons are yellow, so getting 50 points is fairly easy. It's as easy as insert funny comparison here. See that? Easy peasy. Ooh, look at that, Zoldath. It's a reference to a different game in this compilation, viewer. Cross media. So yeah, the Space Harrier comparisons continue to abound. I don't know if you saw those tardigrade, oh there's more of them, those tardigrade looking things. They seem to have the same physics on them as that first boss from Space Harrier, where it's like the dragon with the segmented body that would, it would wave up and down as it flew towards you. Yeah, you guys know about that. And there was also that never-ending story type creature that you get to ride in Space Harrier that has similar physics on it as well. Similar physics on it as well. The side laser is rather clunky, by the way. Clunky. But you have to move in the opposite direction you want to shoot with it. And that certainly takes some adjusting. You know, the series is called Campanella, and there's also a classical music song called La Campanella. Do you think perhaps maybe there's a correlation? I mean, I'm assuming campanella means something in some foreign language that I'm not familiar with. There's probably a connection there, I don't know. I mean, I guess the smart thing to do would just be to look up the definition of the word campanella, but unfortunately, I do not own a computer. Yes, that's right, I don't own a computer. I have to record these Let's Plays at the library. People are giving me weird looks as we speak. It's just like this thing I saw with Vine Sauce recently. You know, the foreign-sounding Vine Sauce guy, that guy. Yeah, somebody in his chat said that he was watching the video without headphones, and so he just yelled out, "This person is watching pornography! Hot men! Hot men! Hot MILF eating beans!" You're a funny guy, Joel. You are a funny guy. So, the hits on this guy don't count unless you get him right in his big nasty clown nose. So, that's what we gotta do. We gotta dodge not one, not two, but three things at the same time, while also trying to line up the shot. This is how the pros do it, you see. So the movement of the hands starts to get unpredictable if they get too close together, and they'll just start flying around. They'll just start going totally crazy like the special kid. And so you want to keep them distanced. So you want to shoot him, but then also push the hands back and swap back and forth. And as previously mentioned, the side laser is also very unintuitive. But I got it, because that's just how we do. Okay, bonus stage again. So I only got the 100 on one out of the 4 waves. So roughly 1 out of every 4 balloons will be orange instead of red, which is going to make this much more challenging to get the requisite 50. So overall, I'd say I'm doing a decent job of piloting this ship, wouldn't you agree, viewer? As Norm Macdonald once famously said, it takes years of training to become a pilot, but it only takes a few minutes to steal a pilot's jacket and hat. Okay, on to level 3. You can kind of see how the sprites were improperly pasted in. See on that second layer, those little, those corals, they have like a dark blue box around them, because they're not meant to be on the light blue layer. I presume that was intentional to replicate old school jank. Old Derek Yu wouldn't let us down like that. Or would he? See, that's the thing, it's got plausible deniability whenever something bad happens in one of these games, you can just write it off. Oh, it's supposed to be like that. It's old-fashioned, you see. They meant to do that. These particular enemies get a bit troublesome in stage 3, because I'm used to them not moving once they get to the far edge of the screen, because that is how they behaved in level 1. But here they won't stop moving, they'll continue to move, right like that. So that's a new consideration you have to make, viewer. All the same enemies, but with new behaviors. Those guys kind of trip you up the first time around because it's unclear what layer they're on, when in fact they're right next to you, and the side laser is requisite for dealing with these guys. No way of knowing that at first because it's fake 3D, you see. Attach your 3D glasses now. That won't make a difference, but it'll make you look cool while you're watching this. That's something. So, we've managed to get farther into this game than Northern Lion ever got, by the way. He's gonna be my main metric for comparison throughout this series, since he is objectively the most famous person to play this game. Although that could change in the future. Maybe Barack Obama's ready to start a fulfilling second career as a Let's Player or something. If that were the case, well, then we'd have to say something different. We would have to see how far Obama gets in Campanella 3 and adjust our metrics accordingly. But today, the day of recording, November 21st, 2024, Northern Lion is the most famous person to play UFO 50, and we're doing better than he is. So where's my fame and fortune? It's overrated, I guess. So apparently the water level in this segment of the game is supposed to be a throwback to Divers, another game that is on this compilation. I haven't gotten to that one yet. Fuck. We need to adjust to this attack pattern very quickly. But yes, I haven't played Divers yet, but apparently that's some kind of crossover or something.
What is this, a crossover episode?
Redditors just love to say that whenever a thing crosses over with another thing. We're gonna be hearing that quote until we're 96. I'm gonna be blue in the face, and I'm gonna have a visible rib cage laying on my deathbed gasping for air, and some fat fuck is gonna walk up to my the room where I'm dying of old age and say,
What is this, a crossover episode?
There's no reason for him to say that, but he's just gotta get that reference in somehow. Speaking of references, all these balloons kinda remind me that there was that Ed, and Eddie episode where they set up an obstacle course, and they got Johnny of all people, and they forced him to do the obstacles, and they were just yelling commands at him the whole time, and shoot the balloon, Johnny, shoot the balloon. Don't stand there, don't look at me, Johnny, just shoot the balloon, Johnny. Now put the quarter in the jar, Johnny, come on, what are you doing? What are you doing, you stupid fucking... Put the quarter in the jar, Johnny. Yeah, that's the real quote that they used. Yes, indeed. Did you see I got 49 out of 50 on that bonus round? That is a travesty. Truly, this is the worst thing to happen in November of 2024. Well and truly. So yeah, these guys move a bit faster now too, in addition to taking more hits. Each iteration they seem to adapt. Well, I guess they take the same amount of hits. I'm getting them confused. There's two variants of this enemy. There's the greenish gold one that takes more hits, and then there's the silver one that comes at you faster. It's all so very confusing. Okay, 68 on that one. You can kind of see my skill level deplenishing in real time as we get closer. The first level it was all 100s and then 80s, and now we're down to a pitiful 68. That guy looks like something you'd see in Alien Storm for the Genesis, perhaps, or one of those early 90s H.R. Geiger inspired sci-fi games. Those were big for a while. The similarities abound. At space camp, excitement did abound. Do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do. I flew so high without leaving the ground. I miss that era of the internet. It was just low-budget people in their house. Oh, well, I guess we're done, son.